Welcome to My Irish Radio Music and Culture News, your connection to everything happening in the world of Irish music and culture. I'm Jamie Flanagan. Each episode will share the latest news from Ireland's vibrant music scene, from traditional and folk to rebel ballads, pub tunes, Celtic rock, and today's top Irish pop. We'll also bring you updates on festivals, cultural events, and people keeping Irish heritage alive around the world. And remember, My Irish Radio is more than just a station. It's your community, your soundtrack, your voice. You can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com and through the links in the podcast description below. Here's the best part. You can be part of it. Host your very own show on My Irish Radio. Choose your playlist, share your stories, make My Irish Radio your Irish Radio. Let's get into what's happening this week in Irish music and culture.
Today, we're zooming out. We're trying to take the pulse of an entire country.
We are. We're looking at the cultural and musical heartbeat of Ireland right now as it's happening.
And it feels like a really specific moment to be doing this.
It's a fascinating moment. I mean, you look at the calendar, and it's early February. It's cold. Storms are rolling in.
You've definitely still got the heating on.
Full blast.
Yeah.
But culturally, if you look at the sources we've got in front of us, the mood is completely shifting. It's pivoting towards spring. We've just had St. Bridget's Day.
A favorite bride.
Yeah.
And it's a proper public holiday now, which that really changes the feel of the week, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's a national marker. It signals the turn of the seasons and that energy, that kind of shift from dark to light. It's bleeding into almost everything in this Pulse of Ireland report we're looking at.
You can really see it. There's celebration, there's creativity, but also a bit of tension.
A lot of tension in some places.
So that's our mission today. We're going to unpack this eclectic report.
Yep.
We've got everything from a huge 90 million project at Trinity College.
All the way to these tiny, sweaty gigs by absolute legends.
Yeah. We'll look at the greening of street signs in Belfast, and we'll even find a surprise connection between County Kerry and Kendrick Lamar.
There is a thread that ties it all together, though.
What's that?
It's this question of how a country holds on to its ancient past while at the same time trying to invent this very noisy, very modern future. It's preservation versus evolution.
Well, let's start with the noise then, because the music calendar for this week alone is, it's absolutely stacked.
It is, and it really kicks off with that seasonal shift you mentioned. If you're anywhere near Derry this week, you are hearing the Imbolc International Music Festival.
Okay, so for anyone who might not be up on their Celtic Wheel of the Year, Imbolc is the ancient festival of spring, right?
That's it. It's the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It's all about new life, the earth waking up. St. Bridget is the figurehead.
So the festival isn't just a series of concerts. It's a whole mood.
It's a celebration of that pivot,
Yeah.
and the lineup reflects that. The report really highlights Seamus and Coimi Ui Flatarta.
They're just incredible.
They're essential listening, really, if you want to understand modern Irish traditional music. They're siblings, and they are masters of sean nós singing.
And for those who haven't heard that term,
Sean nós literally means old style. It's this very ornamented, usually unaccompanied solo singing. To a modern ear, used to pop production, it can sound quite raw.
stark, even.
Exactly. But what Seamus and Coimi do is they bring this youthful vitality to it. They respect the ancient form, but the energy is completely contemporary. It's the perfect Imbolc theme. Ancient roots, new blooms.
I love that. But speaking of roots, I saw something in the report that made me genuinely jealous of anyone near Dundalk right now.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the Frames.
Yes. Glenn Hansard's band. An institution.
A total institution. And usually when you hear the Frames are touring, you're thinking big venues, right? Fields, marquees.
Sold out in seconds.
But this report says they're kicking off a tour of intimate grassroots venues, starting at the Spirit Store in Dundalk.
Which is such a cool move. The Spirit Store is iconic, but let's be clear, it's a room. It is not an arena.
It's tight. The audience is right there. Why do you think a band of that stature does something like that? Is it nostalgia?
I think it's more than nostalgia. I think it's a reaction. Live music has become so production heavy with the big screens and the backing tracks.
It creates distance.
It does. Going back to a place like the Spirit Store strips all that away. You can't hide. You can see the sweat. It's about finding that raw exchange with the audience again.
It's the difference between watching a concert and being at a gig.
Exactly.
And then on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have the Wolfe Tones.
The polar opposite dynamic.
Yeah. The report says they are also returning to the stage, but the vibe there is massive, huge scale.
Well, The Wolfe Tones are riding this fascinating intergenerational wave. You have people in their 60s standing next to teenagers, and they're all singing these 50-year-old ballads.
So while the frames are zooming in, the Wolfe Tones are zooming out.
It shows you the sheer breadth of the live scene.
And it's not just rock and folk. The report also flags a really interesting collaboration with the Irish Chamber Orchestra.
In Dublin and Limerick, with Abel Selaocoe.
Tell us about him.
This is one for the music nerds out there. He's a South African cellist, but just calling him a cellist is...
It feels like you're missing the point.
Completely.
Yeah.
He blends classical Baroque with African rhythm, improvisation. He sings. He uses the cello as a percussion instrument.
So pairing him with the Irish Chamber Orchestra is a deliberate clash of worlds.
Or emerging. It fits that new spring theme again, taking a rigid structure like classical chamber music and just breathing this new cross-cultural life into it.
There is so much going on. The report also mentions the Hothouse Flowers just played Tradfest. The New Re Piano Festival is about to start.
And the Boomtown Rats are closing the Night and Day Festival at Lough Key Forest Park.
Bob Geldof in a forest. That is going to be an atmosphere.
It certainly will be.
Okay, let's pivot from the stage to the studio. Because if the live scene is about celebration, the new releases feel a bit more confrontational.
Confrontational is the perfect word, especially when you look at what's coming out of Belfast.
We have to talk about Kneecap.
We have to. The rap trio, rapping in a mix of Irish and English, they've just announced their new album for April 2026.
And that title, the album's called FENIAN.
Yeah, that's a word that just stops you in your tracks.
Let's unpack that term for a minute, because depending on where you are listening, that word could mean nothing, or it could mean everything.
It is incredibly loaded. Historically, the Fenians were 19th century Irish revolutionaries, but in Northern Ireland, especially during the Troubles, Fenian became a sectarian slur.
Used against Catholics and nationalists.
Meant to be hateful, derogatory.
So by them naming the album FENIAN,
Yeah.
they are. Or no, what's the move? Reclaiming it.
It's a classic act of reclamation. They're taking the slur, they're slapping it on the album cover, and they're saying, you want to call us this? Fine, we'll own it. It's aggressive, it's political.
It forces you to engage.
It does. They represent this sharp-edged, modern Irish identity. They are not asking for permission to speak the language. They are shouting it.
It's a very long way from the, gentle pastoral image of Irish music.
A very long way. But they're not the only ones pushing things. The report also brings up a new artist, Moorinne.
An Irish fusion artist, it says. Her debut EP is called Loin Near.
Which means radiance or light.
There's that spring theme again.
See it? It keeps popping up. But fusion here suggests she's blending traditional sounds with maybe electronic or pop production, a different path to evolution than Kneecap's.
Speaking of evolution, I have to pause on this next one. This wins my Title of the Week award. A composer named Éabha.
That's Éabha Redmond, yeah.
She has a new single.
Go on, I know you want to say it.
The track is called Solar Excess Sacrificial Ecstasies.
It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
What is that? It sounds like a pagan ritual in a cyberpunk nightclub.
I think that's exactly the point. The report says it comes ahead of her album Sirenescape. So that name, Sirenscape, suggests the submersive sound world. And with a title like that, we're probably on the avant-garde edge of things.
Intense.
Definitely intense.
And it's just amazing to see that on the same list as, say, the Irish Rovers.
What a contrast. The report mentions they've just put out the Belfast Sessions.
And that's pure comfort food, musically speaking. It's established, traditional, beloved folk.
It's heritage. And the fact that in 1 week, you can get a new album from the Irish Rovers and a track called Solar Excess Sacrificial Ecstasies, that range is the sign of a very healthy culture.
It's not just one thing. Let's do a quick rapid fire of some emerging tracks the report flags, just to get a feel for the underground.
Hit me.
Okay, first, The Man Who Seeks Pleasure by Éabha Selaocoe.
Great name. Éabha Selaocoe is duty dog in Irish. That tells me punk attitude, a bit of grit.
Next, I Like You by Cardinals.
Direct. Simple. Sounds like indie rock, maybe pop punk.
And last one, Anna with the Silver Arrow by Ellie O'Neill.
That sounds like a story. That feels like a modern folk ballad just from the title.
Okay, so we have this vibrant, noisy musical landscape.
You're listening to My Irish Music and Culture News, brought to you by My Irish Radio, streaming the best in Irish and Celtic music all day, every day. From classic jigs and reels to the latest Irish rock and pub favorites, we celebrate the sound of Ireland worldwide. Want to be more than a listener? Be a host. Share your love for the Irish music by hosting your own show on My Irish Radio. It's easy to get started. Just send us an email, myirishradio@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com. Make My Irish Radio your Irish Radio.
But if we pull back from the headphones and look at the actual physical landscape, there's some serious money being spent on preserving the silence of the past. Let's talk about Trinity College.
This is the big one. The report details a massive conservation plan for the old library at Trinity. We're talking 90 million euros.
A 90 million project. That is a staggering amount. What are they actually doing for that money?
Well, think about what they're trying to protect. You've got the Long Room, which is one of the most famous rooms in the world, that cathedral of books.
It looks so permanent.
But it's not. It's organic, it's wood, it's paper, it's suffering from pollution, dust, simple wear and tear. And at the heart of it all is the Book of Kells.
The 9th century manuscript.
Ireland's greatest cultural treasure, arguably, and it's incredibly fragile. So the project includes creating a new immersive experience for it.
Now, when I hear immersive experience, I think screens and projections. Are they just turning it into a tourist attraction?
I think you have to see it as a survival strategy. If you want to protect the actual physical book, you have to limit how much light hits it, how many people breathe on it.
Right.
So by creating a really high-quality digital version, you let millions of people engage with the art, see the details up close, without actually destroying the original artifact. It's using 2026 tech to save a 9th century treasure.
It's a confident investment in the past. But while Trinity is literally cementing its history up in Belfast, the presence of history and language, well, it's causing friction right on the streets.
This is that intensifying debates the report talks about around Irish language street signs.
To an outsider, a bilingual sign just seems nice, helpful even. But in Belfast, a sign is never just a sign.
No. In a divided society, public space is contested space. Marking territory always matters. The report describes a proliferation of these signs, and it says some are calling it the greening of Ulster.
Greening, as in they see it as a sort of cultural takeover.
That's the implication, that the visual presence of the Irish language isn't shared heritage, but a political statement, a reminder of a Republican identity that they don't share.
And the reaction has been physical.
Very physical. The report notes over 300 instances of vandalism.
300. Wow. That's not just a few kids with spray paint. That's a campaign.
It's significant. It's an expression of real anxiety, real anger. For one community, those signs are a validation. For the other, they feel like an imposition.
And as observers, we just have to report that this is an identity conflict playing out on metal poles.
It's the messy reality of that living culture we talked about. It's not neat. And on top of all that, nature itself is having a go.
Right. Storm Chandra.
The report mentions surveys are underway to assess damage to cultural sites.
So you're fighting history, politics, and the weather all at the same time.
It's a reminder that political vandalism isn't the only threat. The climate is getting more volatile. It feels like a very Irish problem to have.
It does. Look, let's widen the lens before we finish up. Because this report also shows that Irish influence isn't just contained on the island. There's a big global dimension.
There really is. And my favorite story here is the Grammy connection.
This is a great one. You think Grammys, you think L.A. pop stars. You don't think County Kerry.
But you should. A sound engineer from Kerry, Liam Nolan.
And he didn't just attend. He played a key role in Kendrick Lamar's Grammy wins.
This is huge. Kendrick Lamar is one of the most innovative artists on the planet. And for a guy from Kerry to be in the room shaping that sound, it says something really important.
That the talent isn't just in front of the microphone.
Exactly. We focus on the faces, the Bono, the Saoirse Ronan. But there's this deep well of technical expertise, engineers, producers, designers, working at the absolute highest level. Liam Nolan is that invisible export of world-class skill.
And speaking of visible exports, we've got a new face on our screens. Peter Claffey.
The former rugby player.
She's been cast in the new Game of Thrones spin-off, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Which is such a fascinating pivot, from the rugby pitch to the battlefields of Westeros.
Game of Thrones has always had a strong connection to Ireland with the filming locations.
Sure, but seeing Irish talent move into those leading roles just keeps Ireland right there on the global entertainment map.
It's a great success story. But there is one final item in the report that it grounds us. It's a much more somber note, but it's essential to the full picture.
Yes. The new play Heading to Liverpool, written by a survivor of a mother and baby home.
We've talked about these institutions before, a really dark, traumatic chapter in Irish history.
A chapter the country is still very much trying to reckon with. And the fact this play is going to Liverpool, that's significant.
Why that city in particular?
Well, Liverpool is sometimes called the real capital of Ireland because of its huge diaspora. Taking this story there takes the conversation outside the room. It brings this national trauma to a wider audience.
It shows that the arts aren't just for entertainment.
No. The arts are the primary vehicle for processing this stuff, for truth-telling. It ensures that while we're celebrating new festivals, we don't forget the voices that were silenced.
So a healthy culture has to hold the joy and the pain at the same time.
You have to. You can't just have the St. Bridget's Day party. You have to have the reckoning, too.
So when we step back and look at this whole snapshot, this report from February 3rd, 2026, what are we actually seeing?
I think we're seeing a country that's stretching. It's pulling in different directions. You have Trinity spending a fortune to freeze time and save a book. You have the Frames going back to tiny pubs to find a lost connection.
And at the same time, you have Kneecap and Imbolc pushing the culture into these loud, uncomfortable new places.
And that raw friction on the streets of Belfast.
It's messy.
It's alive. A dead culture is easy, it's neat, it belongs in a museum. A living culture is messy and contradictory and noisy. And right now, Ireland is very, very noisy.
And that brings us to the thought we want to leave you with today. We hear the word heritage all the time. But looking at all this, you have to ask, is the real heritage the static 9th century book behind the glass?
Or is the real heritage the furious argument over a street sign and the confrontational rap lyric? It's preservation versus evolution. How do you hold on to who you were while letting yourself become who you need to be next?
That is the question. And we'll leave you to chew on that one. See you next time.
That's it for this episode of My Irish Radio, Music and Culture News. Thanks for joining us. And remember, you can hear the best in Irish and Celtic music 24 hours a day at myirishradio.com. If you ever dreamed of sharing your favorite tunes and stories, now's your chance. Become one of the hosts. Host your own show right here on My Irish Radio. Just send us an email. It's easy as that. myirishradio@gmail.com. Until next time, it's Jamie Flanagan. Keep the music playing and keep Ireland in your heart.